Hello and welcome to my second attempted Rakuen video. I did go off and like I said, I finished playing until the end of the first magical section to give the game a full correct review, and I've tried to do this in a different way because I just didn't have the energy to do it like I did with Sacred Tears Trilogy. Do a big massive plot summary of the entire thing and a review of exactly what I found bad in every way and finish all the... How many chapters was it? 48 chapters? Yeah, I had a bad experience with that. I'm not going to do that again. After what happened with the Space Pilgrim quadrilogy, I was like, okay, I'm going to be kinder to myself. I'm not going to force myself to finish games I don't like. So I'm presenting this in a very different style than before. This is like not a structured review. It's me kind of like abridging a playthrough. I just played off screen and like stopped and started a recording. Oh, when I see something noteworthy that I want to mention. So, if you don't want to watch that full secondary tiny let's play, brief summary of what I experienced. Was it worth it? No. Did it get better? No. It was really unfun and I still continue to just not get it. I don't get why you wouldn't like go for emotion in this kind of game. I don't know why you wouldn't like try and make things actually matter to the plot. I don't know why you wouldn't get to the plot faster. I don't know why you wouldn't make me invest in the main character or give him a name. Until the 5.7 hour mark and still nothing grabbed me. So I gave it a good old college try, trust me guys. I think maybe I just don't gel well with this kind of storytelling. Maybe it eventually gets good over halfway in rather than a quarter. It was indeed when I thought you just kind of waffle around doing random shit for some funny magical people and nothing actually comes up about any continuity with the hospital, any emotional link to anything happening in the hospital. You go in a cave and there's some like plants that speak in a rap accent, there's some surfer dude mushrooms, there's a lot of lol random jokes, and isn't it so funny we over-explain what the joke is. There's really boring gameplay that over-explains the tutorials of exactly what the solution is to every puzzle, and at the very end, after all that, it gives you like no tutorial whatsoever for a puzzle. It's actually really unintuitive. There's random mushroom racism, there's a drug joke, there's a reference to Leet Loot. I think I didn't catch that one on the recording actually, and pretty much nothing you did mattered. It's just an arbitrary dungeon you had to get through to at the end you find out, oh, the Morizora god guy is asleep because the darkness is infecting the world. To cure the darkness you'll have to go help the otherworld monster representations of the 5 characters from the hospital and solve their problems. And also the magical world is real, it's not a metaphor. Like, you can carry your inventory between the worlds and change stuff. Like, it doesn't seem very deep then, does it? Like, wouldn't it be better if it was a metaphor? Wouldn't I have spent some of this time actually in any way feeling like the hospital plot was progressing or I had an emotional attachment to what's going on? I really did just fuck around doing nothing until the game decides, now you get to have the plot. The basic premise of the game, doing things in this magical world will positively affect the people in the hospital, has not started yet and has only told me it is now starting at 5.7 hours. And by then I had lost all will to try. Maybe it truly does get better after this, but I will not be the person to find out. So yeah, if you want to skip the entire rest of this video and like this 1 or 2 videos, however I split it up, please go ahead, because I wish I could have skipped it in real life. I wish I'd have gone back in time with myself and said, no, it never gets better. Oh, also there's not 1 but 3 entire jokes, which is just character who looks disgustingly obese, and oh, he's so fat because he eats food all the time and is so lazy and morally bad. 2 of those times I encountered during the Let's Play, 1 more happens later in the game, and I'm just, why were you so attached to this particular concept? Again, it's like a kiddie joke for kids, but why so many times? And this particular character ruins an emotional moment in the ending. The only good thing in this entire thing is we had a revelation that maybe possibly the homeless grandpa isn't evil, and he actually had a deep reason for stealing from hospitalized dying people. It's because he's stealing things to give to the monster version of them in the spirit world to somehow help them. So he's basically taking the item and giving it to the same person. They don't know because they're in the dreaming world and they don't know, but they actually really have it. That's an interesting revelation, that's great. That was dropped for like 5 seconds and then we went back to another boring dungeon, so I don't have the willpower to continue. But I'm glad at least that that's one single thing to look forward to in this video, is eventually seeing me go, oh, hooray, I'm allowed to like the grandpa. Horrible news when I went off and watched the Let's Play of the rest of the game. He gets worse again later, and I felt like they forgive him way too easily for the reveal that he did much, much worse things in the backstory. Like, really, a lot. It's quite heavy. The end. Okay? Now here's a really long amount of footage. 3.7 more hours playing this, and nothing occurred. What a wonderful video of nothing occurring. I started this game expecting to cry, and instead I'm crying from frustration. Okay, first off, immediate complaint. I was saying the only thing I was invested in is, oh, maybe all the monsters here correspond to real people in the real world. I was excited to see them, because I was assuming they were going to be any kind of unique characters. But Panky's analog in this world is the same generic NPC sprite as everyone else around the village, except he just wears a hat. And he also doesn't seem to in any way act like Chef Panky in the real world. He is, like everybody else, generic cute cat creature, but he's a chef. Wasted potential. Couldn't he have just been like, you know, a big chubby Snorlax looking thing that's a chef, or a funny different species, a chef dragon who lights the stove with his fire breath or something? And I guess give him golden scales to match his weird American hair. Because he's like a grumpy, chiseled-faced 30-year-old man in the real world. Or you could have played it up deliberately for the contrast. Like, again, make him a unique, different design of monster, but keep this idea like, oh, he's very cute in the fantasy world, he's very grumpy-looking in the real world. That's, again, not a good way of handling it. I guess it's not... In every fantasy world, the boss of the fantasy world is one of the NPCs from the real world, and we get a big story about them and learn something about them. It's just, I guess there's a Level version of everyone, and they're all just going to look exactly the same as every other Level, but wearing a different hat. That's a recurring thing with this game. It's there's such obvious ways that you should do things, and that you would do things to invoke an emotional reaction from the audience, and they just don't do it. And it's really odd in the game that's supposed to be about making you emotional. Like, I am generic boy, and I'm spending the majority of my screen time talking to genericized versions of NPCs that were interesting before. Same model, different hats drawn on. And eyelashes this time, at least. She also has none of the personality of the Cora in the real world. Cora in the real world is a funky kid who has dyed mohawk hair, and she's trying to make a group called the Towel Avengers, who are going to cheer up everyone in the hospital who's sick. This Cora looks like a generic, boring, stereotypical artist instead, with no unique traits. Generic, girly eyelashes, instead of being a tomboy in the other world. And she goes, I'm really concerned everyone's sad about the beanstalk fell down and we can't go visit the other people. Like, oh, I wish someone else would do something about that. Like, you could have just made a power, like, oh, I'm gonna try and rally a group of people in the town who will go and help and do that, like she was doing in the real world. But, oh, no one wants to join me in my towel adventure, like, different word, like, Legal adventures or something. So you have to go and do the quest instead, because obviously you're the protagonist, you'll end up having to do everything anyway, but like, that can be the bare minimum to just still keep the character personality. And like, if this is meant to be a dream world, is the idea that the boy doesn't actually remember any details about his friends, or is writing them as stereotypes in his head or something? Or is it like the mum is telling a story so she doesn't know much about them? How is this working in an analog in the real world? Yeah, no, there's just none of this. We're left to believe that the magical world is 100% real, because stuff we do in there can affect the real world as well as the other way around, so I guess it's just two intersecting plots of pure coincidence. We happen to be a sick boy in a hospital, and also real magic runs in our family with a magic book. The game does constantly seem to take me out of my immersion. Like, I'm constantly wondering, like, oh, what is this meant to mean metaphorically? Like, how could this have been done better to make me actually care, rather than caring? Also, it just sucks when they made a game with a dedicated button to press Q to talk to your mum whenever you want, and you never want to because she has no personality traits and there's nothing interesting you get from talking to her. Press Q to talk to mum. Wow, the Level Village. The Level Village seems neat. It's really the Levels. They're real, like in the storybook. Did the person making this game, like, play Dragon Quest once and think that party chat was a good idea but not really get why? I feel mean saying that, but it really does give that idea. Oh, also, yeah, you never unlock any ability to actually run or move fast, and it gets increasingly annoying when you're actually going through larger areas now. I'm not sure why it would deliberately disable the speed up run toggle button that you have by default in RPG Maker. Also keeps on being annoying, and every single time you want to inspect anything you go, do you want to inspect this? Yes, no. And I'm like, I clicked on it, just get me to the thing. There is no other option. I have to inspect everything and pick up everything and do everything to solve all these puzzles. That's just how RPGs work. Oh, because I didn't catch that in the footage. It was like, you click on the door. Oh, the door is locked. There is a note saying why the door is locked. Do you want to read the note on why the door is locked? You read the note. The blacksmith says the door is locked because of this reason. Mildly funny, I'll give them credit. It's weird how in this universe the people look like cats and the cats look like deranged monkey goblins. Yeah, you click on them, they just act and squeak like regular cats, but they have this really scruggly monster. Honestly, I like that better than the ones for all the civilians, just this really boring, generic, recolored cat. I would have liked to have gone to a village of these, whatever the hell these are. But again, another character whose legal form is more generic. In this universe, Danielle, the one who makes plushies, is like an older lady. She's just like, oh hey kiddo, I make plushies. And it's like, that's not the same character, that's not who she was. I talked back in the Let's Play like she looked like she was a teenager, and she was very sassy and fun, and the opposite kind of personality you expect. Like, oh, she's really kind, but she's also got a bit of sass and rudeness to her, and she would quip back and forth with the chef guy. And here she acts like an auntie or something, and it's like, that's not the same person. That's not any kind of metaphorical representation of the person. That's not saying anything through the changes. That's just a generic archetype with the name slapped on and nothing else. It's probably as good a place as ever for me to pop in my little ramble I had about how this approach to making monster characters feels like the Care Bears. Like, oh, here's a friendly monster village and nothing more than that. Like, you get that right, like, in video games, in shows and stuff, like, you can instantly tell, like, oh, this is not going to be a developed actual civilization. This is going to be everyone of this race just kind of acts the same and looks the same. I like games where you befriend monsters, but if you give me just, here is monsters, you befriend them, and no elaboration beyond that, I'm not going to have a fun time. So all those things like 80s and 90s shows, they had like a very conflict averse, every character has to kind of have the same moral code and personality and act the same, and like we just have a big cast of like the same dude in different colours but with only one trait different. That's the vibe I'm getting from this town. It's the cat people, they all act like the cat people, they're generically nice. There's one who has a grandpa beard and his personality is the standard grandpa who is the mayor of a town probably and has a cane, and he's just Papa Smurf. That's another show which really suffered from that problem. Can you really tell the Smurfs apart except their one like catchphrase or thing they will do every time? The personality begins and ends at a single sentence. I don't get why that was so considered to be like a thing that kids would like. I never met a single kid who liked that. It was very common, in fact, for kids to latch onto the only character who broke the mold in those shows. Grumpy Bear is and was and continues to be the most popular breakout character in the entirety of the Care Bears. And it's because his one quirk is so at odds with the basic premise of what every Care Bear is meant to be that they had to, by definition, write him as an actual guy with a personality and a varied amount of different ways that his trait will manifest. With everyone else, you could basically just slap any Care Bear into a plot and the plot would go exactly the same. Grumpy Bear, he makes the plot his own. It just gives you inspiration to do something. Oh, and me as a kid, I also latched on to Swift Heart Rabbit, but she's nowhere near as developed as Grumpy Bear. It's just like, she had 2 traits, everyone else had 1. She was the one who liked sports, and also she looked like a boy and was mistaken for a boy, but is in fact a girl. That is 2 things, and that was enough for me to go, well, I guess I'll settle for this one. It was really slim pickings to find characterful characters back then, until I started watching anime. And this also, unfortunately, is another problem in common with Omori. I'm not going to keep comparing the game to Omori. I know this game came out way before Omori. Was Omori inspired by this game? I think it shouldn't have been, because this thing in common of just, oh, the escapism world is just a bunch of random cool character designs with no substance behind them and nothing to get attached to and just jokes happen. It's all very obviously fake until, oh, the spooky stuff is cracking into it from the real world, and oh, it symbolises depression, and it just makes you kind of spend the whole game like, wow, I really wish the horror stuff would be happening more. I wish we could rush straight and continue into dealing with that, because it's so boring just sitting around in like jellyfish land where the difference is with jellyfish. It's not a very wise idea to handle a character retreating from the real world into fantasy, because you just fundamentally didn't make the fantasy very desirable or fun. The player can't feel any empathy to the main character like wanting to stay here or finding it an escape from the sadness in any way, because it's really boring and unenjoyable. If it was a place full of characters you could really get invested in and really feel they were real, and you actually did a variety of different things, you could feel like, yeah, I want to stay in this world and I want to forget the real world where stuff is hard and difficult. And I feel that's a fundamental problem that a lot of these games fall into. Also, just, I guess, an adult's misunderstanding what kids want or like in fiction, which is probably the same reason why Care Bears and all those shows were like that. It's why it was kind of a stereotype back then. Like, kids will always latch onto the villain because the protagonist is so boring. It took so long for media to actually change. It's kind of fascinating as a time capsule. Anyway, Skeletor is awesome. I am going to cringe out of my mind. There's just an NPC you can walk to and goes, wow, I wish someone could solve this puzzle for us. I wonder if there's like an alternate dimension where things you do there could affect what happens in this world. Oh, in completely unpredictable ways! Like this, it's deliberate lampshading, stupid writing. Like, it's exactly the same before. It was like, here's a riddle which you can solve where the answer is a mirror, and then right after she say, oh, you better reflect on that puzzle, and then you press Q to talk to your mum. She's like, oh, I wonder if the solution is a mirror. This is a game about a sick kid. It doesn't give the impression it's a game for kids in any way, yet why are you being so patronising? And especially in this way where it just completely breaks the immersion of the fiction. Like, characters suddenly start talking like a meta character from a Joss Whedon movie. Like, come on, man. Especially because I just started this section. I'm just walking around the village talking to everybody. I haven't even had a chance to solve a puzzle on my own yet. This is the first time I'm hearing about the puzzle. And then the rest of the dialogue was just long pause, ... lampshading. That's a weird thing to say, actually. Woo! Funny. If we say what the floor is, it means the floor no longer exists, I guess. Again, Joss Whedon. Memories of Joss Whedon coming to my mind for some reason. First positive I can say so far, I like this sprite of the Level sleeping. That's the one thing I've never had any complaints about in this game, except it's a little inconsistent. The visuals are sometimes inconsistent between the character portraits and the sprites, but the visuals are always great and good looking. It generally does look like a wonderful fantasy world I'd love to explore, and then I talk to anyone and it's in fact boring. Okay, the one who gets a unique character sprite and it's like, look how over-exaggeratedly obese the one fat character is. Like, I feel bad, like, that's genuinely cute looking, but you know what the joke is going to be. The joke is going to be fat is bad, fat looks bad. Like, the way they've drawn it here with, like, the flower, like, the tiny feet poking out. You know it's not meant to be cute. It is cute, but you know the point is going to be making that kind of joke. Your name is Buff, because... I mean, I guess that's kind of like Scrimblow and Grimble. I'm going to try and interpret this positively, like it's not meant to be a negative stereotype until inevitably something like that will probably pop up in the dialogue. But let's look at this and say, maybe the character is meant to be incredibly wide, just for pure comedy and just to be cute. It's like, oh, what a hecking chonker meme, and that's why the name is like that. But I'm expecting the next line is going to be, don't take those berries, I eat all the berries because I'm the fat guy and my only personality trait is eating a lot. Wow, who could have predicted? It's so weird because all the NPCs in the hospital were like fully rounded and decent and reasonable people that I was interested in, and then every NPC in this town is one-note stereotypes. Did the creator not really have much inspiration for making a fantasy world? Did they just want to actually make a regular down-to-earth story about someone being sad in a hospital, and these things are kind of like going through the motions, I guess? Like, was it just written the script and then they go to Cat Village, fill in storyline later? Mild positive number 2, it was funny that they go like, oh, there's a sign that says we can't go down here yet, or we could just move a sign out of the way because we're tall and strong humans. And then the sign actually comes to life like, I'm a magical guardian spirit and oh, you're being very rude to me. That was genuinely surprising and funny, and you so far are the only character I care about in this world. Okay, it is also very annoying walking very slowly around this complicated area, going up and down around here, just to find that every single route is blocked except the one place that you have to go. That's been a recurring problem in tutorials and these RPG Maker games. I had never played a single game in my life that did this before I started the random RPG Maker marathon. This is a trope of the genre. We will physically not allow you to walk through any door except the one door which leads to the place you have to go next. I just tried to go and progress the plot, and the homeless guy from before comes up and goes, it's a bit too confusing in that dungeon. Here, a map of a solution. At this point, it's got to be like genuine parody. It's going to stop at some point, right? Like, the tutorializing is going to stop. Also very weird how that was handled. Nobody questioned why the homeless man is like the only other human who's managed to manifest into the magical world. The kid is not like, the whole reason we came into the magical world was to search for you in the first place. He just stumbles up, gives us a tutorial, walks away, nobody questions it, we don't go after him. We're just doing this beanstalk puzzle now, I guess. Even that was me giving the game too much credit. It is not the beanstalk, but it's a totally unrelated cave puzzle, and in the entirety of my gameplay we never got back to doing that beanstalk thing. They were spoiling a solution for a puzzle later in the game. Every time I think it's stopped, I can stop talking about it, it keeps happening. You got one screen after you've been given the map to get through the dungeon. You walk in and this first NPC you see says, whoa, it's so confusing and I wish you had a map to solve that dungeon. And a big pop-up comes up on the bottom of the screen saying, press this button to see the map to solve a dungeon. I didn't catch it, but you walk one more screen in and the pop-up appears again saying press A for the dungeon map. And then Jackie the doctor from the hospital is now a blacksmith. And again, a really boring design just wearing a different hat. Probably your personality is also going to be nothing as fun as the real Jackie. Okay, Jackie wins for being even 1% similar to his real world counterpart, but it's like the majority of everything he says is like generic cutesy cat person voice and like, I'm talking about the quest you're currently on. And then we have the mild trait of still being a bit scatterbrained and eccentric. It's like that. It's like they just wrote the same character 50 times and then went back and edited and changed it and went, oh, we have to give a sign that it metaphorically represents this other character, rather than just writing them like that character from the beginning. Why is he the only one so far whose job has changed between the worlds? Like, how does a phlebotomist turn into a blacksmith? And also, why is a blacksmith dressed like an aviator? You could just have it be like healer Jackie, like that's a perfect analogue to being a doctor. Very next line of dialogue. You need to get over there to that treasure chest. Everything I need to do my job is in that treasure chest. Once you get my tools from the treasure chest, I can get rid of that bamboo from you because that is where the tools are, in that treasure chest. Can I solve a puzzle on my own even once? Directly after. The way you can get to that treasure chest is by draining the lake. There are 2 switches in the cave that you have to switch to drain the lake to get to the treasure chest, which I can use to get rid of the bamboo. This is in fact wrong. There are actually 4 switches in this dungeon. It's long as fuck. This is almost definitely a mistake and not like a deliberate misdirect or a character moment or anything, because the guy still says like, oh, you flipped the 2 switches when you didn't. Would it have killed you to let me just walk around and find the puzzle? Also, the plot here is the thing that caused the bamboo to fall down is, so there's the envoy spirits who they're between heaven and earth. They're like ghosts, but they've become corrupted by the bad emotions and they're generically bad creatures now, and we need to like obvious metaphor, bloody Care Bears, etc. Can you imagine how much more effective it would have been if, like, we didn't know who went through doing these little tasks, these little cat people, and gasp, there's a spooky ghost, and it's like, oh, we're realising now this fantasy world is a metaphor for the sadness we're feeling in the hospital. This is like the spirit of death hanging over us. This is like the sad emotions that one person in the hospital is feeling, and we have to address it, and maybe have a mini boss fight, or solve a puzzle to put them to peace, and then we go back into the real world and see our actions have affected things, and now they're happier. Instead, we just walk in and we're told that's what's going to happen. And then right after the conversation ended, the pop-up came again saying press here to click for the map. I did find out this is in fact not the game being patronising on purpose, it's just really badly programmed. This pop-up will appear every time you walk into a new room, every time you talk to a new person, every time you do any action in the puzzle, every time you go in and out of the menu, every time you do anything at all, it'll remind you that you have a map. and it gets very annoying. I like the design for the Sleepy Root Shoot who you talk to them and they say you have to do a quest to do this, you have to go fix my tree which is malnourished so I can be happy again, and then leave and then let you get through here. Everyone just tells you exactly what the side quest is. If only the big thing blocking the entrance was not blocking the entrance, we have to go find a way to stop him from blocking the entrance. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Did you not immediately tell just from looking at the screen? Also, another fat character whose only trait is he likes to eat a lot. I pray to the sky we found the first puzzle which doesn't have an immediate solution. Evidently I have to go somewhere else in a set of caves to find a clue for it. It's just random buttons and no indication of which you have to press. I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to figure this out. And you know what? I was so grumpy that it distracted me from saying it's genuinely nice to have like a mini-map, but it's also hard to program a mini-map in RPG Maker. That's probably why you have to constantly click to turn it on and off rather than having it on all the time. Oh, that's probably the reason why you can't press Z to select, is for some reason Z has been chosen to be the button to switch screens on the map. This is genuinely baffling as a choice because you find out later in the game that they never use a mini-map ever again. It's only for this one tutorial dungeon. So they permanently disabled a very common button in the default RPG Maker control scheme for the sake of one mini game. Okay, but like, yeah, that's generally a good quality of life feature. And I just wish you weren't so annoying about telling me I have to use it. Oh, okay, the puzzle solution was one room away. They just stand around and all of them, their name is a number, and that's the number you have to do for the puzzle. Like, I'm torn between generally wanting to praise them, like, oh, you've made progress, walking one screen away to learn what the puzzle is. No one directly says you have to do this for the puzzle, you just have to realise, oh, these people have numbers for names, therefore it must be the solution to the puzzle. That's better than anything we've had so far, but also, by the standards of any other game, that would be, like, the first puzzle you see, that we wouldn't have had all these tutorials first. I also really like the design of this one of various root feet you've got to go around helping. I like the little happy face it does when you helped. It's also not very good that, like, oh, there was not actually any kind of puzzle to find the lever. It was just, I finished the puzzle with a treasure chest, it gave me a key, I walk through, there's the lever. And also this guy, like, faked you out with a side quest, like, oh, you have to go and restore water to my room to help me out. But that's also been solved by the fact we already solved the other one before. Like, just getting that key, it gets the water and it also gets the lever. There's so much stuff I thought it was a good thing when I was first playing the start of the game, and now it's like, oh, it just keeps happening and it's not good the second time. Like, you go in a hospital, like, oh, you can solve one side quest and it gives a chain effect, you can solve all the other side quests. Oh, that's really cool. That was nice in the context of the hospital where it was like, I'm meeting a bunch of new interesting NPCs and they all have cool personalities and I care about them, and like, oh, it's a little bit challenging to remember all these different things I have to do, and then to go, wow, I feel like I accomplished something by remembering, oh, I have to go here after I've accomplished this, after I've accomplished that, after I've accomplished that. But here it's like, it's not as much of a long chain, it's just, here's 3 things you have to do and it's in fact just one thing. Okay, I guess I'll help the other trees. By helping the 3 small tree roots, you can help the main big tree, which is like, she has one personality trait, she's like, obsessed with beauty, and the other ones don't really seem to have any. Continuing on. Also, wait, I haven't really needed to use the mini-map at all, because it's not a very confusing area. It's actually quite linear. Gasp! One non-linear thing! I walk into a room and I can't immediately continue going down the room, and I see something over there that's interesting, where I will hopefully be able to experience that later if I find from a different room I can get to this room. Okay, we found the first hospital analog person who actually has a unique design here. Again, nothing really in any way in common or symbolises that it's meant to be Sue. She's just a fantasy elf person with a hat now. But I guess she kind of has a sad expression and that's about it. In post I noticed that they maybe have the same bangs around the forehead. Don't take my word on that. I like the design. She's also partially transparent on the overworld for some reason, but only the hat. The hat doesn't seem to be ghostly in the character sprite. Anyway, avoiding being distracted by that, it's a very nice design. It looks like a JRPG hero of some kind. This is also the first time it ever mentions Sue's friend that she's supposedly really obsessed about and always talks about, but never did with you. That really did bug me as an inconsistency with the character. Also, hey, that means it is the first moment of a character actually referencing a thing that happens with their real world counterpart. Okay, maybe possible foreshadowing here. Ghosty Alf alternate world Sue says her best friend, she always shared her lunches for her because she never had any lunches, even though Sue herself is poor, and as we knew from the hospital world, she's very poor because her dad is abusive and gambles and stuff. So this makes me wonder, like, oh, is the mystery going to be like, oh, she doesn't see her friend because her friend doesn't actually care enough to come visit her in the hospital, and she, like, thought that this person was her best friend, but it was actually somebody taking advantage of her, like taking her lunches when she's really poor and she can't afford a lunch. It's like maybe she was actually being bullied, but like the person would say, oh, I'm your friend, you gotta do this because I'm your friend, and she would believe it. That would be a very sad story. And I am, again, very optimistic for the idea of finally getting, like, oh, the fantasy world represents things in the real world, and I may be able to learn things about him here, and how people work for their problems. Gonna just go ahead and say it here, my theory here was completely wrong, because I was making it based on the evidence. In fact, the game just lies to you. When she's talking about a friend, you will never be able to guess what the actual answer is to the story is, because it's not something that you would normally call a friend. I could understand maybe Sue herself using strange words to express this concept, but by sheer coincidence, every other character who ever mentions it also uses that same odd phrasing. It seems a little bit contrived. Basically, just expect to be really surprised, and there's no chance of guessing it. But again, I gotta say, why does this game make you wait so long to get to the basic premise? Says Bonford on the second floor of the first part of the multiple part dungeon. Thinking now we've gotten to the premise. In fact, no, this Sue character never does anything. You never talk to her again after this one room. She has no relation to any of the dungeon puzzles. And the plot is in fact not coming for, what was it, 2-3 hours? Oh god. Hey, and now the horror elements. I'll leave this recording just in case this actually scares me, that'd be really funny. It didn't, so I'm cutting it, don't worry. And if we hadn't have had someone say, oh, you gotta watch out for the evil spirits, they're all the sadness and such, it would have been really good, and so like, you let your guard down thinking, oh, it's a happy, wonderful world, there's no pain and sadness, and then here's the pain and sadness. Would have been good. I mean, it's a good example of, like, I'm not just whining about it over-explaining for no reason. Like, there's genuine reasons why over-explaining can actually impact your plot in a negative way. You did not need to say, I wonder if that's the thing the guy talked about, when he clearly explained what it is. Okay, so this is going to be a scene finally getting us endeared to the mum, showing she's nice and such. That's a good metaphor, like, oh, let's imagine what this is happening in the real world. She's telling the story to her sickly son, and maybe it's like, okay, and then what do you think happens next? And then what do you think happens next? And he says, he thinks about something in some way that reminds him of something sad that's happening with his illness, and she's like, Mum will make it better, I'll rewrite the story so that the bad things go away. God, it would be good if it was actually that, right? No, it's just a real magical world, and there's no meaning to anything! And there's no explanation why this time the mum being here made the envoys go away. In the very next room, the mum can't make the envoys go away. I really want to actually bond with a mum. I want to learn anything about her beyond just stereotypical mum. It's really strange how the two main characters are the ones with no soul. Great, so now the next room, I think we have to walk around and dodge them. I'm going to walk forward, and if the game it's going to stop me and it's going to go, oh, I think we have to walk around and dodge them. Because I think it was pretty well conveyed. We just had a scene introducing them, and then mum makes them goes away, and now you would think, now I have to do a stealth puzzle to dodge them. If the game does tell me, I'm going to be very mad. What did I just say? What did I just say? Okay, that's at least not... You don't even get to play the stealth section. And she clearly walked directly into it, we would all be dead. I was gonna say, oh, that's nice that you switch perspectives and now you play as the mum and you go through the stealth section holding his hand, well, a nice animation for holding his hand, but you don't. She just solves a puzzle in the cutscene. I'm going to try and give a benefit of doubt. Maybe they're setting up, it's again a really long tutorial, maybe the next time we see them we'll actually have to dodge. Okay, just gotta say that the morality for this particular quest is making me worried a second. Like, this one root foot, took a wrong turn and ended up in the dark cave and is dying because of the lack of sunlight, but the mushrooms need it to be dark to survive, so it's like, oh, the mushrooms don't understand me, they're like, the dark is good and that's what makes us live, but oh, for me, I'm not, that's great, but like, the solution to the puzzle, like, it's like, you've got to make light into this room, like, wouldn't that be bad for the mushrooms? Shouldn't the solution to the puzzle be, we need to help the root get out of the room and back to the room that's healthy for the root? I hope the mushroom will be okay when we solve this. Okay, that's generally a funny pun. Hooray. Again, it was nice that we got to see the room earlier and then we went to the room, even if it was a completely linear path to get to this room and it wasn't in fact me having to figure out where it was like I expected. The only room you haven't been in so far leads down to a set of stairs to go to those other 3 rooms with no branching paths whatsoever, and at the end is this room. But there was the funny bard people at the end. I gave you credit, game, and it's bloody Joss Whedonisms. We need to lampshade everything. Ooh, you just made it less fun. And it just keeps going. It just keeps going. You explained the secondary joke? Was it not enough to ruin exclamation marks for me? Let's just leave this running and see how long this lasts. I'm sorry, you really just dredged any aspect of fun and joy and happiness that came from my genuine reaction of, oh wow, some actual fun characters. It's just gone. Thank you. Thank you for giving me more justified reasons to not want to continue playing this game. But I have to for this review. Also, yeah, it's been a recurring thing for this done. There's been random people going, oh, hip-hop music, oh, rap music, and just really anachronistic real-world stuff. And it's meant to be quirky. It's low random humor, like, oh, pancakes, waffles, hee. Oh, he doesn't play electric guitar, he plays the electric lute. It's like substituting personality traits for just a random string of things, and I guess them not making much sense in context is meant to be the joke. Like, I get it, I was around the 2000s, I get this. This game did not come out in the 2000s, so I don't get this. And yeah, we just kept going. Rather overly long scene, actually, considering how brief the dialogue has been so far in this game. Well, you just keep going like, and this guy, he says suckers, and like, they speak in jive accents or whatever, and it's not what you'd expect for a sunflower and a little plant and a cat. That's the joke. Hooray. Open little holes, that's probably gonna like, oh, now the light goes through and then the mushroom's gonna be dead or something. Okay, the mushroom is fine. Actually, why is it happy? There doesn't seem to be a significantly large amount of light in this room. It's like they've just added a parallax effect over the top. But I guess if it's partially light and partially dark, maybe both of them are happy now. Also, they all have the same personality, just going, I'm so happy, and they do the same face. No, the mushroom is not happy, they just haven't edited its sprite. Are we lampshading the fact that the mushroom's now going to be sick because it's living in the dark? Or does the mushroom have to move out and find somewhere else to live? Like, you're the one who got lost and busted into its house, and now it has to leave? But the boy is like, oh, I'm sorry, and the mushroom is like, well, I can walk, so I can leave. Again, this is its house. Like, the solution is it has to leave its house and like the root just has to stay here. Like, if the whole point is the root got lost and got in the wrong room, like, the root clearly can move. It can move under the ground, so why can't it just get up and leave? It has to be charged with light to have the strength to get up and leave. Well, why can't we just like bring the fire from upstairs downstairs to give it some light, or bring the sunflower if we want to do a joke of, oh, it's like a sun? Why can't we do that, charge it up, and then say, hey, root, we'll give you directions, we have a map, here you go somewhere else you can actually live happily. Instead, we've just completely changed this biome, and someone else has to go find a new house. That's mean, that's so mean. Kind of silly oversight, we still have this ominous heartbeat music in these rooms where the spooky things are, but they're now completely gone and we can just go through and there's no threat. Also, there was this glowing plant the whole time in the first area. Why was the solution not to bring this over to the root and to charge it up with light, and then like, it was the glowing plant which is having like a performance anxiety, like, oh, I'm not as glowy as I used to be because, oh, I'm stressed? Couldn't we have like encouraged it by taking it up and saying, oh, you can help people, even a little light can help, and that could be a metaphor for, you know, being kind to someone can brighten their day, and it would have been a nice solution. Instead, we just don't care that the mushroom is sad now. It's a minor thing, like, usually in most games you don't really think about, oh, this thing I did in a side quest would logically in real life be negative to the NPC. But, like, in a game where it's about, like, metaphorically helping people in hospital and being kind, it seems weird to have a side quest where you accidentally make things worse for one person at the cost of somebody else. And the funniest thing is, you might think, oh, Bornford, you're overreacting, you're reaching too much into a silly puzzle solution, but no, it actually becomes a recurring theme for this dungeon. It's the idea that, like, mushrooms constantly get inconvenienced or outright killed, and, like, it's okay to do that because some of them are just shitty and deserve it. We'll get to that when we get to that, but it's very contrary to the whole tone of the game. Also weird that this other cave bud who mentioned trying to find the Wrapper bud, you can't in any way tell him the Wrapper bud is 2 screens away. say. Okay, very unintuitive. I complete everything on Earth floors. I said before there was a tree root here who said needs help. The main tree said you need to help 3 of my roots. The 3rd root, nothing you did over there in any way made sense that it would have helped it, but it's just gone now. Has it moved somewhere else and now I have to go in deeper and then I can finally help it? Because the tree still said you've only helped 2 of my roots. We walked into a room and were immediately told we have to solve the puzzle by getting rid of these rocks. You need to find a pig. In this world, pigs are creatures that eat rocks. We were just told that when we walked in. We clicked on the sign and it also re-explained some of that. And we clicked on the green person and this person went and re-explained that envoys, there's formerly peaceful spirits that now have got charged up with bad energy. And like, we've already been through 2 rooms of them and someone mandatorily explained that when we first walked in. So why is it also here as optional dialogue? Another small thumbs up from Born. I generally did get a laugh from, oh, these evil golems have put the rocks here. The only good thing about them is they smell like grapes. That's cute. Thank you. Oh, you see, the joke is that it looks cute, but in fact it is grumpy and you did not expect this. It is like a rude teenager. Oh, I really can't wait until this is over. Yeah, it just moves 2 screens over so I can have some more side quests before I get to it. So, I was right, the other route could have just moved after I charged up. This route was drained and it still moved. Also really confusing, I guess I have to presume that this quest works on dream logic. It says, oh, I'm so hungry, I don't have any food. You know, right, the thing that plants eat? Dirt! You're in what's clearly a rocky, earthy room. You're in the ground. You went through the ground to get here. You're not lacking in dirt. Like, is there any indication that, like, it's nothing but rocks all the way down? Like, the rocks have no dirt on them whatsoever because it doesn't look like that? Gasp. There was one mildly interesting puzzle thing. You thought you were going to go to this room and you were going to solve a puzzle, but then a hole opens in the ground and we fell down to a different room. Police say the puzzles are getting gradually more intelligent as we go on. Am I fucking cursed? Is the game, like, reading my mind and making everything bad? You immediately just walk up the stairs and you're back in the same room you fell through. This was actually a lot more boring than expected. You'll see in the footage I come back and finally get to this guy a lot later because I got sick of the puzzle. You fall down, you walk up back to the stairs, you walk straight back to where you were before, you move 1 step to the left, you see, is this going to be the correct spot to walk through to get to that guy? You fall through the floor again, you walk all the way to the stairs again, you walk all the way back to the place again, you move another step to the left, is that going to be the right place to go to get to the guy? And you just have to keep doing it until you guess right. Also, is it weird that the puzzles were less tutorially in the human world? Like, we only had the puzzle right at the very end of a tutorial section was like this. Like, for like it just left us to solve moving the boxes and like getting the key cards on our own. It's like it thought we got dumber between the first 2 dungeons. Or what is meant to be the other way around in development or something? Was it actually going to start with you immediately going into the dream fantasy world, like straight from waking up in your hospital bed to this? Like, what I suggested would have been better for the pacing way back then? I would be sad if so. Oh, and the joke was the same joke a second time. It's called a pig, but it in fact looks like a monster instead. Also, for no apparent reason, we can't progress the plot. The pig says, have you come here to feed me rocks? The boy just goes, question, question, question mark? Even though we've already been given the information that the pig eats rocks and we know the rocks that it needs to eat. So why are we not just saying, yeah, come with us, we know some rocks you want to eat. Okay, artificially lengthening puzzles, hooray. I will at least give it some credit on this other floor that we found down the hole to. I'm needing to use the map to remember which direction I'm going in because there are several branching paths. And it's also a bit confusing how it's like, this is technically the same level as the other one we went to before, but it's a different part to be only accessed from this bit. Okay, the reason the map exists is because you will eventually at the very end need the map. Great. Wait, why didn't we just not get the map until we go to the 2nd floor? Would you believe there's a second one where the joke is just the cute monster has an unexpected modern accent, but this one is like, dude, rad, totally, I'm a surfer man. Also, we stepped on a small mushroom and killed it, and like no one cares. They're like, we forgive you. Like, they're the small mushroom preservation society fighting. Like, them small mushrooms are called the rad shrooms, but they're like, yeah, you just stepped on it, and that's totally fine. Is it going to be like we stepped on it, just got pushed into the ground, and it's going to be fine afterwards? Because otherwise, it's like, it's weird how we keep accidentally harming mushrooms in particular, and nobody cares. Is that a recurring theme of this dungeon? We have to be mean to all the mushrooms for some reason? Why? What did the mushrooms do to deserve this? Oh, okay, the plot is, there's some mushrooms that are good, and some mushrooms that are just born evil, and they're bad, and like, and so we have to step on and crush the bad spore things, because they make you impolite. So this seems weird metaphorically as a representation of like the sadness of someone in hospital. You'd think it would be like framed differently, like there's a dark thing, like, oh, in this world some people are just born terrible, they deserve suffering, and like you're meant to sympathise with them and meant to think like, oh, this is manifesting from the child thinking, oh, that's how I see myself, like, did I get sick because I'm a bad boy? And you'd have to help them and learn a lesson or something. Nothing you actually do really in any way represents your depression or your health issues that you're going through. It's just a kind of a random string of events from generic early 2000s humor, funny people. You'd have to get through it to get to the bits that actually do have a metaphorical meaning or any kind of story at all. It's strange, it's really strange. Like, you could have just thought about these things, you could have made it all be that. Also, we're just casually talking about how the cave pig, like, eats and murders us mushrooms. Generally, why are the bad things only happening to the mushrooms? Like, they're just casually saying, like, yeah, go murder another species of mushrooms, they're inherently evil. Also, we don't care you murdered one of the good ones. Like, oh, it's an easy mistake to make. And oh, by the way, pigs kill us every day, and we can never stop smiling, and you just took all our light away from our other guy before you even met us. Is this just like, does the writer not like a taste of mushrooms, or is this all like some kind of in-joke I'm missing or something? Oh, okay, they just said it doesn't matter if the cave pig murders those mushrooms because they're kind of stuck up anyway. Also, there's one in Mario and Luigi colours. Lol. You can't even let me have that, you can't even let me have that. You talk to her and it says, we're a Mario and Luigi reference! Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it, kids in the audience in this game that's not even aimed at kids? I can't get over the idea of just, not one but two species of mushrooms just deserve to die. One for being inherently born evil, one for being slightly impolite and like stuck up and rich. It's the kind of joke you don't think would fit with the tone of what the game is actually about. If this is a funny fantasy world to escape from the sadness of being in a hospital, you don't think people would just be joking about like, oh, it's so easy for people to die, oh, some people deserve to die. Like, you'd think this would be in some way a metaphor for the hospital, right? Born for that every damn thing in the game. This is a metaphor for the hospital, right? Something's gotta be a metaphor for the hospital, right? It would be like if fucking you were playing off and then like one random area has a joke about killing babies and how it's funny. Or you're playing Mario and the joke is, haha, someone stole away our princess and we don't care to get it back because she sucks actually. It just feels strange to have a joke that's kind of about your main plot and the main plot is having the opposite opinion to the joke. That's how it feels when you make jokes about death not mattering in the game about dying children. Also, incidentally, this puzzle was so annoying I only now came back to get it. I haven't bothered talking to Mum this whole time, and when I do she just gives a generic pun about caves. And then several more dialogue blocks of explaining a generic pun about caves. More recurring dialogue about how some mushrooms just deserve to be murdered by a pig. Okay, mildly funny joke at least about like the stuck up rich person mushrooms who deserve to be murdered. All of that rich person stuff, rich cutlery and Tupperware, but it's all full of dirt and rocks because they're plants. That's genuinely charming. And it wasn't thrown in my face and it wasn't dragged out really long. Okay, we really are just going, some monsters are racist. Like, these ones, like, we're more superior to all the others. So, I guess that's the reason why it's justified to murder them, is because they're being racist. It was a mushroom racism plot, just in the opposite direction. Okay, just gonna come back for another puzzle later, because I'm confused how this is a puzzle. It's just, like, it's a bunch of light up rocks you're gonna go through, but it's a very clear and obvious path to get through. Maybe I have to come back later and do them in a different pattern to get a different thing. Genuinely really glad and relieved that there was more to this. It's really funny how the game had let my expectations down so much that I could believe that the puzzle really was just walk in an almost straight line. Okay, that's like, so the joke that this one cute animal is actually really grumpy, it was just being brainwashed by the born evil mushrooms, and it's actually generic cute normal character than everybody else. Okay, that's less funny than the joke you already had. I will say it's at least mildly interesting to go backtrack for the whole dungeon and find where the new bad mushrooms have popped up. That's cool. And I'm still baffled what the fuck we're supposed to do with a pig, because like I was thinking like, so we can't tell it where the rocks are to eat the rocks, and even though we've found the truffalos, that's the rich mushrooms, we also can't tell it to go eat them. What do we have to do to activate the pig? Activate the pig, that's a really unusual sentence. Okay, the puzzle was to turn every single stone blue when going through them. That is generally nice. It did not tell you what you were supposed to do. You can just figure it out by sitting and thinking of the puzzle for a while. I'm not sure if this was mandatory yet to solve it. I would say if this was mandatory, leaving it to be something there's no hint at all for it, that would seem a bit strange, especially when the rest of the dungeon has been so heavily hinted. Yeah, it was mandatory. Okay, gotta say, I wish I could have praised that game design decision, but it's in fact a bad one. Darn. I guess this is all we have to do. You can't just say to the pig, yeah, there's a thing you like to eat over there, we have to repel the pig and trick it into going to the place we need to go. Why? If they just keep making drug jokes with the mushrooms, this is weird. I didn't manage to catch the footage earlier of the exact text box, but back when they were explaining these mushrooms are evil, these mushrooms are not evil, they were like, whoa dude, like take a sniff from the good ones, they make you feel all bright and happy and floaty like you'll go on a trip. You know, it's just weird, right? Like, again, just there's no thought that's been put into this fantasy world. Like, it doesn't make sense as a thing a kid would think about if it's his dream world. It doesn't make sense as a thing that the mum would be saying if she's telling him a story. It doesn't make sense as something that people that a real, totally disconnected, magical world would say. These are just random jokes you could put anywhere in any game. Anyway, we destroyed enough of the inherently bad mushrooms that we earned access to the mysterious store, but we have to finish the dungeon to get to the mysterious store. I guess that was an optional piece of content. Hooray. Okay, it was even more unintuitive. We have to go back to the posh mushrooms and give them the pig repellent so they can escape being eaten by pigs. I'm glad at least we're not actually making them being eaten by the pig. But anyway, and then they'll give you mushroom perfume which makes you smell like a mushroom so the pig will chase you, and then you have to lead the pig over to, like, why didn't we just, it's a talking pig, why didn't we just tell the pig, there's a cool rock over there? Why do we have to trick the pig into getting to the thing it already wants? Also along the way, I found out that X is cancel, even though it says that only S is cancel. So it's still got the remnants of a standard RPG Maker control scheme where Z is select. They've only disabled Z for select and not any of the other matching parts of that. Like, why would you not just map the button on your optional map menu to be something that isn't already used by the default system? Isn't it harder to do it this way? Also, the pig will chase you if you wear a Truffalo perfume. It means the pig will just join your party and walk along peacefully and not try to eat you in any way. Generally, why couldn't we have just asked him to join us and walk to the damn rock? I know I'm nitpicking this a lot, but like, why? This makes no sense. Like, why not just create a scenario where the puzzle isn't immediately solved as soon as you walk into the room, rather than leaving the player like, why can I not solve this puzzle as soon as I walk into the room? You try to say, oh, there's nice rocks over there, the pig doesn't believe you, the pig is a very distrustful character, it has more than one personality trait, there we go. Oh, also wasted potential, you don't get to chat to the pig too now if you press Q. That would have been a really funny Easter egg. Oh, and okay. Weird, you can't actually take the pig to the place, so I'm sure there was a place in the first set of areas where there was like rocks you couldn't pass. I thought like there would be an Easter egg if you go back there you could get another optional scene or something. But no, it seems like even though it's the same rock acid every time, some of them are and aren't usable by the pig, and you can only do it in this one specific place where mandatory quest said you had to. Also, as soon as you walk into the room it automatically activates and it says the pig is gone forever now. Again, missed opportunity, you could have just hidden something else behind one of these rocks and that would have been a fun treat. Also, even though we've now pressed the 2 switches for the water does not drain in any way, even though that's what we were told to do in the first place, I guess we do have to go back and give the dirt to the final plant thing and complete the plant quest before allowed to progress. I'm just gonna say, again, a little bit of an oversight, like, if you let the player do these things out of the intended order, like, I would guess it's the intended order because we were mandatorily taking control away from us and we had to go through the rock door, the pig did it for us. So I don't think I could have gotten back to give the dirt to the guy before this. It's strange. Also in retrospect, why didn't it drain half the water? Like, the whole reason, the first water switch was like, one of the routes needs water, and he specifically says, oh, I need a lot of water, I can drink a whole lake. Why wasn't it like, and then half of the area clears up because the guy drank the lake? Why is it we have to finish the entirety of every quest for either of the lakes to drain, even though we've now pressed both the switches and someone is actively drinking the lake? Oh, also for some reason, this has now changed speaking style, now it speaks all fancy. Does the good dirt inherently make everyone fancy when they eat it? Like, is it infecting you with classism or something. Yeah, now it says Wonder of Wonders instead of I'm so happy like the other two. See, I like you more now. I wish we'd had more scenes of this. This is kind of fun. Also gotta say, kind of weird pacing. Like, everything on the right, we did two of the 3 routes there. Everything on the left is a much longer and more complicated dungeon you actually need the map for, and that's just for one route. And now we can finally give the apple to the fat guy. Okay, so we have to pull another lever. I was gonna say we've already pulled 3 levers. This will be the 4th one. I was gonna forgive it, like, oh, one lever, like, lowered a set of stairs from the mushroom guy place. I was like, okay, maybe that's a different type of lever. But we've now had 3 separate levers that were all on the walls and were all saying they were water levers. And one of them we already saw diverted the water, so did they just change this puzzle during development and didn't go back and change the tutorial guide at the beginning? I'm so fucking ready to be out of this cave. This has been so weirdly long. And also, like, we haven't engaged with any of the things we thought we were going about. We haven't, like, met the grandpa guy's bear version. We haven't done about the beanstalk to get to the sky. We've just kind of fucked around to get the tools to move some bamboo. Okay, there's not going to be, like, another longer dungeon behind the bamboo, is there? There was not! Oh, thank God. I will instead take this moment to pop in a random thought that came to me during the Let's Play. It wasn't really a good moment to bring this up, but you know the name thing? Like, he's the boy, she's the mum, and everybody else in the world has a name? Couldn't it have worked so much better if nobody had a name? It gives the whole real world this sense of, like, storybook magic to it, even though it's still a real world, to feel like he's never truly completely in reality, regardless of which dimension he's in right now. It could be like, the boy, the mum, the chef, the artist, the seamstress, the doctor. Everyone in the world could have it, and maybe as you go on you learn more about them, you only finally learn their name at the end of completing their story in the fantasy world. Like, they become more real in the real world, and then maybe at the very end of a story you finally learn the boy's name right before he dies of being sick, or whatever the bad sad twist is, he leaves the hospital forever and says goodbye to everyone if he does survive, or someone else in the hospital. Whatever sad thing occurs, we get like, goodbye, Thomas, or Jeff, or George, or Fred, Langley Winkleton, I don't know. Could have been really good. Could have not constantly distracted me out of my immersion. I do feel like that about the game. I feel like a lot of the elements didn't mesh together and there wasn't thought put into making them mesh together. It is truly just great concept for a game. Didn't think a lot about finishing it. Oh no, I feel so rude to say, like, I think it's probably much more likely that, like, maybe instead of not being fully finished to the level of the vision that the creator originally had, maybe it's like there was the troubled development or something. Maybe things changed a lot during that, and there's the little continuity breaks and things not making too much sense is because, like, there were different beta versions of the game, and, like, parts of each got put together and things weren't double checked. I want to believe the best of this. Like, it's clearly a passion project with, like, good intent, like, to send a powerful message about death. We just haven't got to it yet. I want to give the game some compliments, but it's really hard. You know what, one thing I love the visuals. Definitely wonderful designs for the crazy monster worlds and everything. Great sprite work even in the hospital. Great designs for all the characters except the protagonist. But, like, his hat is cool. That's a missed opportunity too. What if it made him not have any hair and that's why he wears the hat, and you could immediately tell, oh, he must be very sick, he must not know how sick he is, even though he never acts sick and we never see him being sick. You'd still feel immersed in it. It wouldn't feel like you're being broken out of the reality of what the story is telling you. But I think that is just, probably again, the cliche trope people tend to do is they tend to have character who is dying of unknown illness and shows no symptoms whatsoever until the moment they drop dead, because it's just hard to write a disabled character, I guess. I don't believe it actually is, but that's the excuse people tend to give. What was it they called it? Anime cough disease. It's probably just like an idea of, like, again, he's the boy, let's not give any specifics about his condition or what's going on. But I really feel that the protagonist should be the one you know the most about and actually get invested in. I like the designs of these ghostly dancing people. That's neat. And we're meeting more Azora and some more plot stuff will happen, I guess. Closer view of the cool design, yay! They're like candle people. Blah-de-blah-de-blah, you can't make a wish of more Azora now. The ambiguous darkness that's infecting the envoys is taking over the line. For some reason the emotional music is playing now like I'm supposed to give a shit. We have to go on a longer quest through more areas. We all knew that was going to happen, and then presumably we have to also do more side quests in the hospital and things will somehow affect each other. Like, when are we going to get to the point where we see reflections of the emotions of the hospital and stuff like that? Yeah, we had like 5 seconds of Sue and we literally just talked to her and she was optional. She wasn't related to any of the quests at all. And we just left the room and we haven't done anything. Like, that's the only thing so far that's really felt in any way emotionally connected to the hospital. We've just kind of fucked around with people with funny accents and that's it. Funny accents and mushroom racism. They weren't explained what the envoy is again. You see, we have long shared our forest with the envoy. Did you know they are spirits between this world and the next, but they have been corrupted by the darkness, and that's... I immediately understood what you meant when you said the darkness has infected the lands. It's probably the other thing everyone's been saying is infected by darkness. Yes, you don't need to specify what you mean by darkness. I'm gonna try and detach my brain and think about what this metaphorically means. Like, maybe from the perspective of the mum telling the story to the kid, it's like, well, the kid thinks the story is ending, so let's make up a quick excuse now for why the story can't end. He has to, next time we'll go on the journey to stop the darkness, to keep on giving him more stories, to keep on giving him hope, to keep on going. How much of this Let's Play has just been me proposing a better idea? I have to just keep going back and slapping myself in the past, like, no, it's not a metaphor, it's just really happening. You're gonna be so disappointed when you get to that point and find out. That would potentially be a good way of justifying a bad and boring plot choice in-universe as a heartwarming thing. Oh god. Sobbing eternally. But also, yeah, it's not surprising me, everyone knew it's not just going to be over for one dungeon. Like, it would have been a really shitty game if it was. I managed to miss the dialogue box going, but they said, the quest now to stop the darkness, you have to gather all the pieces of a special song called Mori no Kokoro. And again, I just want to say, these are some Japanese words I do actually know. That means, like, the forest's heart, I think. So, there you go. Incidentally, I don't know why everything is in Japanese, because nobody so far we've met who seem to be Japanese. But I guess it's like the anime thing, we can't really tell what race anyone is if they're an anime, because most people in anime are Japanese, but they don't in any way look different from the Western people. I guess we haven't seen anyone with a long nose and blonde hair except the chef guy, so maybe he's the only Western person and everybody else is Japanese. Future knowledge, the game is indeed set in Japan. When they reveal the stuff about the mystery of what happened in the history of the hospital, it's something specific to Japanese history. I just don't understand why the majority of the characters have very Western names. Like, there were only 2 people with Japanese names, like the grandpa of dementia and the homeless guy. And it's not meant to be that all the other characters are not Japanese, because one of them is, like, outright said to be a Japanese man in his side quest, but his name isn't. And then also, why is everyone talking about these Japanese words like, oh, they're foreign, they don't know what they are? Is it supposed to be a translation convention? It's the other way around. Like, is the book called Heaven or Paradise in English? Just raises a lot of questions. Born with a double future? The person who made the game is mixed race Japanese American, so maybe this was a purposeful attempt to, like, mix things up in a way to make it accessible to an English audience, but maybe just misjudged exactly what to do and we've created a bit of confusion. I can appreciate that. I did like how the Phoenix Wright series tried to do that, and it also turned out that series, the localizer was a person who was mixed race Japanese American, so that's really good to know. Okay, we have to gather the song by doing side quests for, I think either 6 or 5 people to light up these things, and that'll give us the song and we'll wake up the god guy. So we are eventually going to get to, like, exploring the magical mindscape representations of all the sad people in the hospital, right? We're just not doing it now, we're just not introducing that in the first time we go to the magical world. We're waiting a really long time for a really annoyingly long cave dungeon to do that. Yeah, this game has a problem really over-tutorializing. This is what I mean. The talky priestess candle people said, you must do these side quests for 5 people important to you in a hospital, and then the boy is like, what do you mean? And they go, you must find the man whose wife won't wake up. What do you mean? Here show a vision of him. My wife's been asleep. Like, what? Why did you need to say the same thing 3 times in quick succession? Like, we could literally just get that. We could literally just go back to the hospital, we walk around to all the people we've already met in the hospital. One of them will be the one with the quest. I just want to finally continue those side quests that we were doing at the start, which has been interrupted for so long. I'm not going to remember which people wanted what side quest by the time I get back. I did indeed not, and I missed a chance for an optional scene with a grandpa. It's weird how literally the only time they trusted the player to do something on their own was the mandatory, kind of confusing blue stone puzzle. I feel like it's really unintuitive for the player if so far nothing mandatory has ever not had an immediate hint directly next to it. I feel like a lot of people might have potentially been confused with that one. I wasn't, I'm not going to say I'm smart or anything. I think I just lucked into thinking, oh, I might do that. Also, it bugs me that the pixel art is kind of bad on Mario Kart. I think he might have just been scaled down in the pixel filter, like this was like a regular drawing or something. I'm just going to say there's a lot of stray dots and stuff. Maybe it's intentional to sketch the aesthetic to make him look different to the others. Another little minor gameplay oversight. After that cutscene, they just kind of stop talking and leave you there, and you have to manually go backtrack and walk through a dungeon to get back to the town. It kind of ruins the mood of this ominous, like, you must now go and help this guy! And then you just gotta walk a long way. If it was me, I would have put a little teleport, or just like cut to, and now we are out of the fantasy world, now we're back in the hospital. And I in fact got lost because of this and couldn't find my way back to the hospital, so we have a lot more footage to go on. I'm going to end the episode here because I think it'd be best to split it up into two of like roughly equal size. I don't think this playthrough here is entertaining enough to be a long video. Like, I've had long videos in a marathon before, but it's been like, oh, we're continuing to play a game we enjoy. I also don't think it qualifies as like video essay level analysis here. So I'm just gonna say, just like my opinion didn't improve on the game in this video, it doesn't in the next one either. I would recommend only watching it if you're actually interested in me just critiquing the game and the things I have to say. But I do try my best to be entertaining, but I'm not going to be egotistical enough to think I always succeed. You're going to see me wandering around various other things, various topics of conversation and a conclusion, and I went off and watched a Let's Play of the ending and gave my thoughts on that too. Look forward to that next time, or flee from the game like a vampire from sunlight and watch another video if that is your fancy.